I'm Reese.
And I'm Dea.
And we are Literally Dead. Back to you with another installment of our probably going to be year-long series.
The conjurverse in chronological order by two people who hate the country movies.
Yes, because who else? Who else?
Who would be better to read this? I think I calculated it because we started in January. And so I believe that we're finishing in November.
Oh, okay.
If not,
I thought we was doing a New Year's episode on the country, so I'm grateful.
I'll have to count it. I'll go through the calendar when we're done with this.
Just in time for Christmas. And our Christmas present to you will be no countrying in December.
Yay!
How about that? That's a Christmas present to me that we don't have to watch the film in December.
We're just watching Christmas horror movies in December anyway.
Yeah, if we get close to December and we've not finished them, then we're watching them all in November.
I will say a present to me would be if we didn't have to do them in October because it's Halloween month and we'll probably be doing something special. What do you think? Do you actually like the Conjuring movies? Do you like horror in general? Because those two I don't think are symbiotic, but you know.
No, they're not at all. Today we're obviously doing The Nun 2. That's the next installment. So far we did The Nun, we did Annabelle Creation.
Yeah.
And now we have done The Nun. We are doing it
Nun 2.
We've done it in chronological order. The last one was set in 1956. This is now 55. This is now 1956.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all there is to say.
Before we get started, I'm just going to remind you to subscribe and follow us and like us and all that jazz.
Mm-hmm.
We are wherever you get your podcasts, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and Letterboxd. Right.
Spoiler-free synopsis.
Yeah, we're going to do a spoiler-free synopsis, and you can decide if you're coming or going. Sister Irene is back, investigating the violent death of a priest, and once again comes face to face with a great evil.
Ooh.
Sister Irene is from the first The Nun movie.
Yeah.
And back then she was a postulant, but now she's fully a nun, and she's like devoted to Christ.
Yeah. So our film opens this time on Tarascon, I believe.
France.
Don't know how to pronounce that, so don't at us.
Gaviscon.
Yeah. Washing machines live long over
Calgon.
That's what I was
thinking of Gaviscon, the antacid.
Mm-hmm. No, you're right. I just thought of like, yeah, I don't know where my brain went. All the sounds sound the same. Anyway, French. 1956, there is a church service happening in this Tarascon town.
Yes.
We see a
altar boy.
That's it. So the altar boy has a ball. I think he throws it into the dark and it throws itself back. They've done it in The Conjuring before, so...
Third time's a charm!
Yeah.
This is near the end of the franchise as well, because The Nun 2 came out in 2023.
Yeah.
Which means the last one that came out was 2025, which is Last Rites. Mm-hmm. So they've done 10 films at this point.
Yeah. Also, we skipped a little bit because it starts off with a bit of faff. It's like, here's the boy. He lives with the priest, I guess, which is weird. Must be his dad, I hope. But they had the service. He's got a haunted ball scene. Point is, after the service...
Oh, this bit's kind of sick, though.
Oh, you say it then.
The priest is, like, picked up by, like, an unknown force, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then he's, like, held out like he's being crucified. And then he's burnt alive. And the flames kind of start at his feet, and then they, like, travel up his body really quick.
And then you see the giant shadow
you see
of the nun.
Yeah, you see a man walking down the street.
No, before that, while he's being burned, you see the giant shadow of the nun up against the backdrop.
Oh, I wasn't looking at that. I was looking at the burning priest.
That was pretty cool, too.
Yeah. And then... you see a guy, like a silhouette of a man walking away, and then the nun's shadow is over him. And if you've seen the first Nun movie, you know immediately who that is, or you suspect immediately who it is. It's Frenchie or Maurice,
who at the end of the first movie was seen to have carried a piece of the nun's spirit in his body with him, seen by like a itchy crucifix that was turning up on his skin. Upside down crucifix that was turning up on his skin. Yep. So we're thinking, oh, that's him. And this is what he's been up to, I guess.
He's just killing people.
Mm-hmm. Cut to not France.
Nope.
Wherever the fuck Sister Irene is.
Maybe she's also in France.
Maybe she is. Oh, yeah, because she takes a train. Oh, no, she's somewhere in Europe. Yeah. Because she trains to France. So she's either somewhere else in France or she's in Europe. That's the great thing about not being in the UK, is that you can train to other European countries.
Love that.
Jealous.
But we're back with Sister Irene. She's friends with a sister called Deborah, who is a bit more like a rebellious girl. She's like, I didn't sin, so why should I have to go to confession? And the other girl's like, you're gonna give Mother Superior like a headache.
They have a cute scene where the nuns are stuck in the mud.
Yeah.
And it's like, how many nuns does it take to get out the mud?
4, I think.
It was 5. It was 1 to drive. I thought it was cute. I just want to bring it up because it was a cute moment where it was like the first film we've seen where we've recognized a continuing character. Yeah. And they proper did that, like, that Marvel thing where, like, she, like, is pushing the car and she lifts up her head and it's like, it's Irene! You know, you're like, oh my god,
Irene.
it was gonna like Avengers Assemble.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't. Do you think there's a Conjuring film like that? And like they suddenly open up all these portals, and like it's like Irene, and it's like Sister Charlotte, and it's
oh my god, it's just all of the nuns except the evil one.
And then like Annabelle and the nun, and like everyone comes to, and they're like, "Hear my hope."
Whoa.
That's a
I don't know.
Has Been Hotel reference.
Okay. I've only seen season 1.
We have a listener who's gonna love that one. Anyway, this was for you.
You know what? I would love that. I would love it if it was Sister Irene, Sister Deborah, because she's cool in this movie, I think.
Yeah.
And then, like, I think maybe Sister Charlotte, that or, like, Linda, but, like, not grown-up Linda, like, child Linda.
I'm sure the list for us will grow when we see more of them.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
Frenchie. I want Frenchie to come back.
Yeah, Frenchie could come back. Well, he's already back, but he's now possessed by the nun.
But yeah, the rebellious nun.
Yeah, and it's so funny that I think that this is such a movie for like non-horror fans. Again, like we said about the last 2 movies, right? But this one does it to the extreme in certain scenes, because when Irene is like doing her daily duties and stuff, one of the nuns is just telling the story of the first nun movie.
Yeah.
Just in case somebody in the cinema just hasn't seen it.
Yeah. Mind you, this nun, can I just say, she's like the leader.
Yeah.
She's such a caricature of a Catholic nun, and anyone who knows the character of a Catholic nun, it's just all about hating yourself and thinking you're the worst thing in the world. So she says that about the rebellious nun. She says, can you believe she said she had nothing to confess?
Like, that's a confession into itself.
That's a sin of itself.
Whoa.
Crazy. But then in this, she tells the story of nun 1, and she says there was this, evil spirit that had come from, hell, a devil spawn, to go after these nuns, and it took the form of the filthiest, most disgusting, sinful being it possibly could.
Them.
One of us.
And then, but the thing is we were talking about this the whole time. We were like, why is Sister Irene like just a regular nun? Like, she should be like Mother Superior or something, because she just like saved the world.
Yeah.
But then apparently, because when we're doing this story, we get to learn what happened to the priest.
Yeah.
The priest turned into a bishop. But now Sister Irene is just a regular nun.
Yeah.
And it's like so hypocritical that they'll like let women be in service, but they won't reward them for it. But in the church,
What the people think is that the nun couldn't handle it, and she went insane. They don't know that it's Irene. That's really important.
And she's just there like grumbling in the background.
Yeah. They don't know. They have no idea that Irene had Jesus' blood in her mouth. They don't know that. They think it's some crazy woman who couldn't handle it, and it's like, wow. And we really spoke about this, like, as sometimes the conjurverse can feel like religious propaganda.
Yeah.
But then other times it just does shit like this that I'm like, so religion is dumb.
Are you critiquing it? No, you're not. Because,
I guess it's just like, what if religion was real? It's still bad and dumb, but it's real. What would that look like? No, because that's the thing. If religion was real, no, think about it. Think about it. If religion was real, all the bad stuff would still be there.
Yeah.
It would, like,
all the sexism.
Yeah, all the homophobia, all the racism, all the slavery, all of it would still be. Yeah, it would still be there.
But I want to know, is Christianity the only religion here, or do the other religions also apply? Do you know what I mean?
Ooh.
Like, are we gonna get like Conjuring set in like the UAE and it's like Islam, or like the Conjuring set in like India and it's like Hinduism?
I don't think we get Hindu, but I could imagine. I mean, I can't imagine at all. But I think it makes more sense if there was other Abrahamic ones.
Oh well, okay, the Abrahamic.
Because then it would be like,
then it could just be the same God.
Yeah, it's like, oh, we're doing the same thing. We're just looking at it slightly different.
Oh, that makes sense.
Because let's be honest, like, it's never direct Christianity that ever does anything. It's either some sort of special relic from something that exists in all the Abrahamic religions, or it's just sort of the energy of some kind of God,
or it's magic,
and the preaching of it. Yeah. It's never been something so specific to Christianity. Yeah.
I see what you mean. Oh yeah, then we got to a girls' boarding school, and these girls, they like shove cockroaches into the vent of a head teacher's room, and she's like screaming. I'm like, you had to pick those up in a bucket. Anyway, and it turns out Frenchie works at the school, or Maurice as he's known in the school.
He's a caretaker.
Yeah.
He looks different.
Yeah.
I mean, just naturally between films, I think are like 5 years apart.
Yeah, it
plus.
makes sense.
But also, his energy is completely different. He looks less gaunt. He looks more like a settled man. Does that make sense? Rather than what he was before, which is sort of just like a womanizing
wanderer.
Yeah,
a little grimy.
His whole thing was literally like moving to different places and how like he was like an outsider.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's just got this settled look to him now. And all the kids love him. Like, all throughout the hallway, the girls are like, oh, hi.
Especially this one kid called Sophie. And she tries to give him a friendship bracelet. But then this other kid who's, like, really horrible to her is like, oh, is it your boyfriend? Like, meh, meh, meh.
The bully kids. Yeah. We'll call them.
But then he managed to get the bracelet back and it's all
fine.
He
pickpockets it when the head teacher comes. Well, this is important, actually. The bully says to Maurice, when he's like, give her her bracelet back. She's like, you can't tell us to. You're just a servant. You're a slave. Like, yeah.
She's like, I own you.
Yeah, this is a boarding school, and it's like definitely like a bougie, rich, expensive one. Yeah. You've got people who do sound French, but you also have a ton of people with like really posh British accents.
And Sophie sounds Irish.
Yeah, because her mum is Irish. And we know that because her mum is one of the teachers, in fact, the only teacher we meet, who is, Irish. And she seems to get along with Maurice quite well, and he seems to get along with her.
There's a little tension there. But it also kind of explains why Sophie's there and why she's a bit of an outcast, because she doesn't seem like to be like these bougie girls. She's there because the teacher's her mum.
Yeah, she's a teacher's kid.
Then there is a delivery girl, like a French delivery girl. She comes in and she's like, nobody answers the door, so she enters the house and she starts like putting the school, and she starts putting the stuff away on the shelves.
Yeah.
And then she hears this horrible sound and she goes in and she sees like Maurice is making these like choking noises.
We're going to call him Maurice or Frenchie?
I don't know. Because the thing is, in the first Nun movie, he's referred to as Frenchie the whole way through.
Yeah.
But then he says his name is Maurice at the end. But in this movie, he's actually called Maurice more than he's called Frenchie.
He is. Because he's changed, like I said in the beginning. Yeah. He's no longer like a womanizing, oh, call me Frenchie. I'm an outsider. He's like settled and he's like, I'm a man now. I'm a gentleman.
Also, I guess it's a bit weird because he's not French, is he? He's French-Canadian. And so he's actually in France. So it'd be probably be a bit weird to be called Frenchie when he's the only non-French, you know what I mean?
He's suddenly the least French person in the hood.
So they should be calling him Canada.
Canadian. Ooh, that's bad. Maurice it is.
Maurice it is.
So she catches Maurice.
So I'm going to call him Maurice from now on. Sorry, it is still Frenchie, but it's Maurice.
He's staring at the wall and he's like kind of twitching it and his bones are clicking.
Yeah.
And he turns around.
Choking noise.
He turns around and the girl gets terrified. His face looks terrifying. So she runs down the hall and then that's when the nun appears. And very swiftly kills the girl. It's really quick. She like spooks her down the hallway and then grabs and kills her instantly.
Absolutely.
And again, another kid death that they opened Annabelle Creation with a kid death, and this was like quite an early kid death as well. I was like, oh, is this we doing this now?
They're getting a bit more creative and more ballsy, which I like. Then Irene has a dream about Maurice saying, "Help me." Or save me or something like that. And he has like a really weird Snapchat filter on where his teeth look super sharp.
Yeah, I don't know what it is about the Nun. They love that Snapchat filter. The Nun series will not let go of that fucking Snapchat filter. They love... Oh, it just looks awful.
It never looks good. I don't know why they do it.
No idea. And it seems to be a Nun thing too. Because in the other films we've watched, like...
Annabelle Creation is the only one we watched. But I have seen The Conjuring, the original one. And they don't use it in that one either.
No. But we'll let you know. We should do a Snapchat filter account. No, could you imagine?
It's so bad.
But she wakes up from her dream. We know it's a vision. If you guys forgot, in the first film, it's established Irene has visions.
Yeah.
She can, like, see things that give her clues.
She watched That's So Raven too much as a kid.
That's so Raven! Don't copyright us.
Irene is called in and by these like priests, and it's so like, again, the sexism thing, because all the nuns are like standing behind these priests like servants, and essentially they're like, you need to go, like, there are these deaths that are coming through Europe of different members of the church. The most recent one was the one we saw in the beginning of the movie, and we want you to go investigate. And she's like, why don't you get the priest in? He's dead.
Cholera.
Can
I just say, I want to remind you people that after they saved that fucking church, mind you, Irene saved that church.
Yeah.
They left us. Now, I imagine she was like, just like, I don't ever want to do that again, and didn't want the fame.
Yeah.
Partially. But also, I bet they also were like, well, you're just a fucking nun, you know?
Like, what did you do?
Yeah. Also think, what the fuck can a nun even become?
Mother Superior.
And that's it. And you need a vacation for that. Vacation. Like an empty space. What's it called?
Yeah. Vacancy.
You need a vacancy. That's right. No, it's not.
A vacancy.
To even do that. So it's like, yes, crazy. Such inbuilt misogyny that it's even like, even if they wanted to, how would they even recognize her?
They'd have to create a new position for her. They'd have to give her a similar position to what the priest had in the first movie, where it's like, you're a miracle hunter. But I doubt they'd even do that.
And yet here these men come groveling to this nun. We don't know what to do. You have to do something about it. Why don't you pray to your male god? Why are you coming running to a lowly nun? Huh? Interesting, right? When shit hits the fan, who are you asking for help? Okay, that's what I thought. Mm-hmm. That's what I thought.
Can't do nothing yourself. And they're like, you're the only one who's alive who's ever faced this evil before. Mm-hmm. You're the only one we can ask to do this. All this bullshit, right? And then she's basically kind of corralled into doing it. And she gets on this train and she's like pissed off about it.
Yeah, but then the rebellious nun,
Deborah,
she comes into her car and Irene's like, what are you doing? And she's like, I'm coming with you.
I love that.
Yeah, I don't want to be a nun. My dad made me be a nun. And I'm going to like not let you be on your own, so I'm coming with you, and I'm different.
They do have these bonding moments because they have these conversations. I think the most of it was in the one previous, but I'm going to say it now anyway, that Sister Irene was kind of forced into being in the church because her mother was very deeply religious and she got taken away, basically like lobotomized. And Sister Deborah, her family ran into trouble with some like racists back in the South, and so like once her brothers joined the army, he said, oh, my brothers could serve the country and I could serve God. Is what my dad said. Is what she said.
Yeah. She couldn't join the army, so she joined a different kind of army.
Yeah. And so it's interesting seeing these women who are so corralled into religion. Like, they're forced into this religious service.
Yeah.
Essentially. And it's interesting that their, like, faith is being reaffirmed over and over again. When, I guess, in a different kind of movie, they'd be pushed out of that. You know, they don't push themselves out of that.
And that's why the relationship is interesting, because this rebellious nun is exactly what Irene was at the beginning of the first nun movie.
She's a postulant as well. She's not a full nun.
Irene believes now. She was questioning her faith in the first film, but she tasted the blood of Jesus. She saw evil and saw what God could do against it. So she believes it now. Yeah. And she keeps saying this to rebellious nun that, like, you need your faith reaffirmed and you will see and stuff, which is kind of annoying.
This whole thing where it's interesting that she says communion makes wine the blood of Christ. Like, your faith is what makes it the blood of Christ. And I'm like, you literally had blood of Christ in your mouth. Yeah,
you literally had the blood of Christ. Did it taste like wine? Right? Did it? I don't think so. I don't think so. Some fucking stupid bullshit. Yeah. And it's annoying too because I loved Irene because I loved that she was questioning it. And then it was such religious propaganda that it got affirmed in the end. So now it's just like, okay, and now we're going to watch her brainwash someone else. But seeing how religion actually works.
I didn't mind that it was reaffirmed. I was more upset that she just stayed in service, you know? Like, be religious as you want. But, like, at the end of the day, you're basically, like, a maid.
Cause you're right, because in the first film, it's not just questioning faith. With it came questioning duties. Yeah. So, like, she started kind of getting close to Frenchie. The more she sort of questioned her faith, the more willing she was to sort of, like, be close to him in a way that nuns aren't supposed to. Yeah. So, yes, you're right. When they reaffirmed her belief in God, it wasn't just that. It also made it so she was like, okay, I guess I have to be a virgin and dedicate my life to men and live under them and serve them. Was also what came with it. And I'm like, fucking hell, girl, you were a free thinker. Just because God's, real, apparently, doesn't mean you can't believe in him with some nuance. Yeah. Why did that go out the window?
I think that, like, my perspective on religion is if God makes everybody and God gives everybody free will and all this kind of stuff, right? First of all, if he made us that way, then he must love us, as we are, which means don't be converting people in your gay camps or whatever. Like, let people live. But also, he's given us enough free will to kind of question it. And it's like, we're entitled to the burden of proof, if that makes sense. Yeah. Like, now he has to prove himself because he's given us enough free will to question it, that faith is no longer enough.
But then that's what a religious person would say, but that's the test. If you can push past that, belief and that faith, then you are worthy to stand in his light.
But then God isn't the one saying that, though. It's a person saying that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then the thing is, let's be honest, when God isn't real anyway, it's all just a person saying it. Yeah. So...
But in these movies, God is real, apparently. But he's not real enough to fucking save them and stop this fucking demon.
Nope. They need a random woman to do it.
What were they going to do if Valak, like, if Irene gets killed by Valak? Like, who's going to save them then? No one.
Yeah. We see a bit more of the relationship between Maurice and the teacher. Yeah. He comes into her class and she dismisses her class for a break.
Yeah, because she wants to chat up the groundskeeper.
You mean she needs her cabinet fixed?
Yeah.
It's a little squeaky. She needs him to loosen it.
It's just not opening right.
You hear that?
Meanwhile, during this break, Sophie gets pressured into joining the bully girls in the chapel. And she's like, but we're not allowed in the chapel. She's like, yeah, but it's fine.
It's like locked off with a chain. Yeah. But they can sneak under the chain as kids.
Yeah. So they get into the chapel and then they're like, now let's play a game called the Defy the Devil. And so there's this, like, stained glass window with the goat on it. And the sun will hit a certain point and the eye will glow red. And you have to look into the eye until the eye no longer glows red, no matter what comes to you, because the devil will try and talk to you and make you turn around. and if you turn around, then you'll get like possessed.
Well, it says that the goat will come out. The devil goat will come out.
Yeah, the devil goat will come out.
So she's terrified. The eye goes red and she can't look away.
Yeah.
The girls slink into the background.
Yeah. And you thought they were going to beat her up. But I was like, no, they're going to lock her in.
Okay, I did not think they were going to beat her up.
You did.
I thought they would... No. You said, what do you think they do? What I thought they were going to do was just, like, say stuff or make noises.
Sorry, different part of the film.
No, it wasn't different part. But then I just threw out also, I was like, oh, I don't know. Like, maybe they'll, like, throw shit at her.
Yeah.
I didn't actually think that. I just was, like, throwing out things they could do. What I thought was they were going to whisper stuff and make noise. Because they were like, no matter what you hear or what you see. So I thought they were going to go... But that's what... Because, let's be honest, if kids are actually pulling that prank, they don't believe it.
No.
So they're like, how are they actually going to scare her?
Well, that's the thing. They know that she's naive enough to believe it. And that's why they leave the chapel and they actually lock her in.
And they're sick enough to know that her brain will twist it and hear things on its own.
Yeah. And that's the worst thing you can really do. Like, all right.
And next to this closed door, where the girls have locked the door, is a statue underneath a cloak. And we see it moving. It's like tilting its head. So we're like, oh, it's the nun.
Yeah, it's the nun.
But anyway, the other thing that gives away that it's the nun is that we start to see leaves and dust blowing around Sophie's feet.
Because if you remember from the first movie, the nun has wind powers. She's fart maxing.
She is. She's farting until she queefs. But she saves that for the finales. Wait till you see what her queef knocked down this time.
That's such like a clickbait article title.
Yeah, so the nun, I honestly, I can't remember how the haunt goes.
Okay, so the haunt, from what I can remember, she runs to the door as soon as the eye stops glowing. She runs to the door. She can't get out because the girls have locked her in and they're giggling on the other side, right?
And there's a statue. The statue
is next to the door.
The one I described.
Yeah, and I believe that like
it's inching closer.
It inches closer. She's like facing it, and it like falls, and the head of it falls off, right?
Yeah, the cloak on top of it falls off, and for a split second,
it's the nun.
Looks like the nun, but then as it hits the ground, it's just a statue.
Yeah,
and she falls on her back, perfectly in the light of the door that swings open. Yeah, as Maurice is here, he saw the bullies and has rescued her.
And the statue falls over, and the head falls off of it.
I love scenes like that when it just the motion moves so perfectly.
Yeah,
that's one thing they're good at.
Well executed haunt, that one.
Yeah. The only good thing about the Conjuring movies.
And the girls are like, oh, did your boyfriend come to save you?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Irene finally gets to the fire priest church. So this is the church where the priest was set on fire.
Yeah.
She looks around, she's investigating. She turns and she sees the altar boy.
Yeah.
And he holds out some rosemary beads to her. But then that's when her best friend, her rebellious best friend, is like, Irene, you okay? And we see that the boy wasn't real. It was a vision.
Do meet Maurice though.
They do.
Out in the town.
Yes, when they're in the town at this sort of very similar time, Irene bumps into Maurice and he gives her, I think, some tomato seeds. And oh my god.
She gives him tomato seeds.
Oh, I see.
Because it's like at the end of the first movie, he says, oh, I think I'm going to become a gardener. And so she gives him the seeds and is like, for your garden, you have to start somewhere.
Interesting. So she knew she was going to see him.
Yeah, because the dream vision she had saying, save me.
That's a really good point because it means like it shows how much she trusts her visions now.
Yeah.
Not just trust, but understands her visions. And I will say in this film, she does have way more control over them. They're far less taking over her. Yeah. They're a bit more distinguishable from a haunt.
Yeah.
Which they weren't in the first film.
Yes.
Which is like a very big point.
I'm glad about that, to be honest with you. Like, if I know it's a vision, then... Not that I'm, like, afraid by any of the hauntings in this, but then I'm like, okay, I don't actually have to think that the characters are going to die in this.
Yeah. But right after she, like, leaves him and he goes off to work and she is off with the nun, she realizes, she says...
Wait, Maurice is the possessed one?
He's the possessor. He's in this town.
Yeah.
And when we left, like, not that she was suspicious at the time, but she had this vision. He was at the church. She knows that the nun could only leave the church inside of someone. Now these deaths happen and he's right where the death is happening.
Yeah. I believe there's even a flashback to, like, the vomit possession in Nun, so...
Where she, like, vomits a snake into his mouth, which, if you listen to our last Conjuring last month, you know, we complained about really boring black vomit.
Yeah.
Vomiting snakes into someone's mouth, they were so much better, so much more interesting.
But I don't think that was, like, I think that they remade that scene, I feel like.
No,
I don't remember there being snakes in it.
I do remember that.
Okay.
It could be a case that they made it up and my brain went, yeah, that's right. But yeah, to me, I was like, yeah, that was what I remembered. But I was so glad that she figured it out so quickly.
Yeah,
that she literally bumps into him once, she goes, okay, vision.
Instead of going from, like, town to town and being like... Why are the people dying? Maurice, hi, how are you?
Or be like meeting Maurice multiple times, trying to figure it out until in the end she goes, Maurice, it's in you. But no, she bumps into once.
In the crossword, Maurice?
No, literally. And it also again shows how much power she has over her visions now. She's like, I had a vision, he's here, it's him. Period. But then, like any good person, she's like, let me go do research.
My next note was flirting, and then after that, Sophie haunting. So
yeah, so Sophie climbs up a bit of an abandoned part of the building, and it's like a stairway. I want to talk about this because it's a haunt that I like. When she gets to the top of the stairs, she looks down a hallway, and there is the nun at the end of the hallway.
Yeah.
But the hallway is lit incredibly bright, which again is very unusual. To see the nun in literally the brightest lights you could possibly imagine was just really unnerving and weird. Because like it's no longer like this slinking figure in the backdrop, which it very much was in the first film.
Yeah,
she
which
just
I think worked well, you know, in the first
Oh
film.
yeah, 100%.
She like a dark shape with like a veil, like a white veil. You could, you know, it's nice, it's distinct.
Yeah, but like we know the nun now.
Yeah.
And so for them to so boldly do this was also showing us how aggressive the nun was being this time.
Yeah.
I mean, they showed that with the nun just lighting a bitch on fire and then killing a kid up against a wall real quick.
Yeah.
But she's like, I'm aggressive. I'm not hiding. I'm right here.
I'm not trapped anymore. I don't have to leave one of you alive. I've got my vessel.
She screams, she runs down the stairs, and this is when they had a really cool shot where the nun is leering over her, but the kids come out of the classroom and the light shines on the wall.
Yes.
And the nun becomes just an etching in the wall.
Yeah.
It's like, the crumbling wallpaper that looks kind of like the nun.
I thought that was really cool as well.
They do this a few times in a few different ways where the nun becomes just a shape. And it's that thing of like when you're looking at something for too long and you start to like take shape and you think it's moving, you think it's a real thing, but they kind of reverse it. Yeah. And it's cool.
That is really cool.
Yeah,
I do like that.
The haunts are good in this one. There's only a few bad haunts.
Oh, the nuns go to a hotel. There's kind of a kerfuffle with the room and the booking. So Deborah's trying to sort it out and Irene is like, I'll just wait outside. But while she's outside, she sees the altar boy, Jacques, and she tries to follow him. So she chases him around, and then she loses him because it's definitely like a vision or like a haunting or something. And then she comes across a magazine stand. And this is my favourite haunt of the movie, where like it's very dark in this street, apart from the very well lit magazine stand, and you can see everyone standing in front of it, and then all of the pages start flipping to different things, right? And they're making faces, loads of different faces, but slowly they're making the shape of the nun, which I just thought that was so interesting. Very, very interesting.
And do you believe this was a haunt or a vision? I believe it was a vision.
Yeah, it was a vision.
What is cool is when it makes the nun everything but the face, because the face is just like a mountain, which kind of fits the silhouette of the nun, which again, using that technique they've been using.
Well, I also think that whoever designed that scene knew that the biggest weakness of the nun is that she doesn't look that good. You know?
They were like, why would we put the face in there? It's gonna look dumb. This is such a beautiful scene. Don't ruin it with the face. No, put your Snapchat filter away. We don't need it.
I think it's also probably the same person who decided that instead of showing the nun all the time fully, they're putting them in the background, or they're etching them into the wall, like in the scene. You're like, you know?
I think it also is one of the biggest signs that it was more of a vision than a haunt, because one of the key elements of the nun is like their eyes and their face. At one point, that's all we saw was eyes in the darkness. So the fact that it didn't have that, it's like, oh, this isn't actually nun. This is a symbol of the nun, because she's getting a message. And then she suddenly gets this like flash, and she sees a bonfire, and there is a woman sat in front of it, and a man in a cloak approaches her, a red cloak, and he stabs her in the eyes, which I believe is actually him gouging out her eyes. But he stabs her in the eyes. Now, I thought this at the time, but I thought the woman, she had a little bit of like she looked like Virgin Mary kind of like thing over her head. But she kind of looked like Irene to me. I said this. I was like, she looked a lot like Irene.
I couldn't see enough to tell.
Now, I don't know if this was intentional, but from what we find out later, I feel like it kind of was. But yeah.
Maurice kind of sleepwalks around, and he gets right in front of the chapel, doesn't he? Until the head teacher catches him.
Oh, this scene. Okay. This was my least favorite haunt.
They're just back to back.
He looks really freaked out because he sleepwalking, right? She sends him back to his, dorm or whatever. And she goes into the chapel. I don't know why, but I think she's sort of like, is something wrong with the chapel? Let me go see. And it's the goat room, right? Where the goat was. And she has this haunt that lasts like 3-4 minutes, which doesn't sound that long. But it's so slow and so boring. Basically, it's an altar boy. It's
different one, not Jacques. Different altar boy.
Yeah, it doesn't look like him. It's like shorter, and his hair looks very different.
I think she calls him Cedric.
Which I'm assuming, like we said, it takes the form of your greatest fear. It's a boy that she did something bad to or something wrong. I can't tell you what it was. It probably was hinted at, and we just like didn't care. It sounds bad. But the thing is, at this point, the principal has had like 2 lines. We don't know who she is, so we don't care about her, and we're not invested in her. And then the haunt is also boring. It's just, again, we had this scene in the first nun with the priest. It's just a boy appearing in the corner and her going, and then turning, and then turning,
running after him. I lost him. Oh, he's over there.
Now I'm being chased by him.
Yeah.
Until he finally walks towards her. I will say, I loved his silhouette. He was wearing that little, like, altar boy.
He was wearing a white thing, but then he's got that red, like, draped thing around his shoulders.
It's, like, really puffy. So he's, like, very, like, diamond-shaped. Yeah. And then he had the little chain and ball thing with the incense.
Yeah.
And it was just such a distinct silhouette, especially for a young boy. That I liked that. But besides that, it was a boring, long, slow haunt with nothing scary happening.
And it just came after,
and not someone we care about.
Another haunt and a vision.
Mm-hmm.
Like...
What was the point? We don't know her. We don't care. We don't know this boy.
Yeah.
It was so uninteresting. Anyway, she dies here.
Then the teacher finds the head teacher's body. And then the nuns go to the Catholic archive. And they discover, like, a saint called St. Lucy, who Irene is distantly related to. And they say that all of her descendants have her visions, her psychic visions. So that explains kind of why Irene is the way she is. And then she says, well, there is this holy relic called the Eyes of St. Lucy. Mm-hmm. And they are very powerful and all of this stuff, right?
At the same time, Sophie goes missing. And the teacher's freaking out that her daughter's not there. So she goes to Maurice, and Maurice goes looking for her.
Yeah.
And he finds her in the top of the clock tower. It's her, like, you know those kids who are misunderstood always have their little spot?
Yeah.
And he comforts her, and she opens up about seeing weird shit.
Yeah.
And he's like, I see weird shit too. Blah, blah, blah. But this is really, I think, important for how close they get. Especially for how she acts towards him towards the end. Because they bond over this fact that they see these things outside of them that makes them feel weird, or that something's wrong with them. Yeah. But it's not them, it's something else. And that's very sweet that they bonded over that. Separately, on your note, Irene is like, well, we got to get these eyes.
Yeah. Well, while they're in the archive, they realise that the monk, there was a monk who claimed to have one of the eyes, or the eyes in general. Sorry, they're not two artifacts, they're one. And they were like, oh, where's the monastery? Oh, it's actually here in Tarascon, France. And they're like, oh, great, is it still a monastery? No, it's a school. And then, of course, Irene is like, oh, wait, Maurice works at a school. He's obviously after the eyes too.
Yeah. And it's an interesting setup because it's like, we have to find this weapon.
Before the demon does.
Yeah, which is typical. But it's just one of those specific situations where it's like, this is the only thing that can stop it, but it's also the thing that it wants.
Yeah.
It's really like, okay... Wow. Like, this can make this thing unstoppable and be the end of us, but also it can be the end of it.
I think it's a good motivation. I don't think it's handled the best, but I think it's a good motivation.
It's just scary in a horror film because you know people are going to mess up.
Yeah, they
and
always
be kind of useless. So you're like, you're going to somehow get that and be in the same room as the nun to stop it. Ooh, that's dicey. While the nun is trying to get it? I don't know. But we'll see how that goes. They also figured that the nun was once an angel.
Oh, yes.
Who was, like, corrupted and fallen.
And they're probably wanting that holy protection back, is what they're saying. But this is actually where we figure out that Irene's mum was sectioned, but I said that earlier. Then it's a scene where it's Maurice and the teacher, and they're kind of dancing and flirting with each other. Sophie's kind of, like, falling asleep on a chair. And then this is where we get the mandatory record scene of all the Conjuring movies.
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking, right, so I'm like, okay, they're all awake right now, so I don't think it's going to be like a glitchy scare. I think it's going to be a case of the record stops and then the shit happens, right?
Yeah.
And what happens? The record stops and then the haunting starts to happen.
Yeah. He, like, collapses. He gets faint. And I was joking at this point, but it looked like a scene where, like, someone's transforming into a werewolf. He literally, like, collapsed. He's like, it was literally like, you won't like what I've become. But it was like a were-nun. It was literally like a were-nun. The thing is, Maurice is unaware that he's haunted. He knows something's wrong with him, but he doesn't know what.
Yeah.
But he's obviously, like, scared and, like, worried.
He doesn't wonder why conveniently every town he's visited to has had, like, a priest or a monk die or some shit.
Literally. So there's a picture of nun on the wall, there's shadows, there's all sorts happening. So he...
Also, the teacher discovers the mark on the back of his neck.
Yes, but obviously they're freaked out, so they start running, and Maurice is holding Sophie's hand and the teacher's hand, and they're running through the hallway. He's trying to get them to safety.
This is why we think it's so funny that, like, they're, like, running from the danger, but they're running with the danger.
Yeah, they're, like, holding hands with it. I compared it to Scooby-Doo.
Yeah.
Like, it's that moment where, like, Shaggy and Scooby are, like, running away, and then all of a sudden they're, like, chasing the monster.
Yeah.
It's literally that.
And then Irene and Deborah rock up, and they're basically like, get away from him! He's the haunted, he's possessed! Maurice, you're the danger.
It's really sad because Maurice, like, sort of has this, like, for a split moment.
Yeah.
While he still has his humanity, sort of like feels like a little, has a face of guilt and sort of like confusion. That actually did make me feel really bad for him.
Yeah.
But then immediately his bones start snapping and he full wolves or nuns out.
His transition into where nun is complete.
So he turns around in like possessed nun mode, right? So he's like, we'll call him possessed Maurice. And he starts running in the opposite direction. We believe in the direction of wherever the eyes are.
Yeah.
Or wherever he believes the eyes are. It's kind of like, oh, we have no time now. It's now or never. So Irene runs after him, but she just like clapped against the wall.
Yeah.
And then the other nun, the rebellious one, Deborah. But yeah, Deborah tries to help. She gets her ass beat.
Yeah.
And then this bit was funny to me, but it's also important to know. Irene pulls out like a cross.
Yeah.
And she's able to hold Maurice. Like, this has been used in a few of the Conjuring films, and it either goes one way or goes completely the other.
Yeah, it goes either the way from Annabelle Creation where your fingers get snapped, or it works for like a minute.
Right, it's confusing. I guess maybe because it was a bit of a human in it, it made a difference.
Yeah.
But he sort of gets like stunned for a moment.
Yeah.
And then that's when Deborah is like...
Deborah like bats him over the head with something.
With like a pipe or a stick.
Yeah.
Which was like perfect.
Honestly, I like it.
It must have been relieving when you deal with like non-stop ghosts that you can't touch, and finally you're like, I can knock this one out. I can actually physically just knock the shit out of this one.
They run into the chapel, and this is what I call it, the Centrinians method, because in Centrinians 2, The Legend of Fritton's Gold, so I had to say it, there is a scene in which they go into a boys' school and they use the light from like this thing into a picture of Shakespeare and they pull out his earring. That is what they use in this instance. They basically get, Sister Deborah is on the other side of this thing, shining like a flashlight, right, through it, getting the perfect angle in, making the eye glow red, and wherever the light glows, Irene's got her hand out and like is looking for it, and seeing where the light stops to dig out the eyes. And I just thought that was so funny that they used the method from Centrini.
Lands on a tile.
Yeah.
They pick up the tile and they start digging for it underneath.
Yeah.
So this is an important thing to say here. If you have watched videos on The First Nun and The Conjuring, you know that the final act is a shit show. The same thing happens every time. Everything is quite linear up until this point.
Yeah.
Everyone splits up, and then there are multiple hauntings.
Don't split the party. DM's rules.
So how do we want to tackle this? I will mention that the main groups are the bullies, as in like the kids.
Because they woke up at some point. I don't even remember that.
We obviously have Irene.
And Deborah.
And then we have Sophie and Maurice.
Sophie runs off on her own.
So this gets messy. Oh
my god.
So while they're digging for the eyes, we do cut to the bullies.
Yeah. Who are with the teacher.
And they're going through a haunt at the moment.
Yeah. Because there is a being that looks like a goat man chasing them, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, so the goat from the stained glass window
disappears after they find the eyes, I swear.
Yes, because they made its eyes glow red and no one was looking at it.
Yeah.
It's kind of my guess. I don't know. But yeah, it disappears from the stained glass window. And so now there is literally like a weregoat. And no joke, it literally just looks like a weregoat coming after the kids and the teacher. But then the teacher somehow splits from the kids. And she ends up with Sophie and like Irene. And then somehow Deborah ends up with the kids.
But then I swear it happens again where they like swap over again at some point.
Oh yeah, they do. They swap back towards the end. But so the teacher's with them with the goat, but they somehow get away, but then the teacher gets separated. She's kind of with Sophie for a little bit. Deborah ends up with the kids. There's one particular haunt.
Oh, where like the kid looks through the hole, right? And then she's like fine, and she like leans back, but then she gets pulled in, and then Deborah has to pull her out again.
Yeah, it's that hole where the vent where they put the cockroaches in.
Yeah.
Because obviously the kids were like, "How do we get out?" And they're like, "Oh, we can push open the vent and crawl into the next room."
Yeah. Oh yes, the principal was there,
Yeah.
and they see the principal, and she's like covered in cockroaches.
Yeah. And there's cockroaches all over the floor. That's when she gets sucked into the hole.
Yes.
I will say either right after this or right before this is where there's the like goat man and they're being sucked out the door. Yeah. And then Deborah has to like grab the girls and pull them back and like grab the girls and pull them back.
She's doing this all the time. I'm like, oh my god.
Poor Deborah, man. She must be tired.
She's like, I did not sign up for this.
Yeah. I'm like, well, you kind of Zigra. You're in then. Life of service. I will say Maurice, he wakes up and he attacks Irene and Sophie. And I really think the teacher was there at this point. But he attacks them once they have the eyes.
Yeah.
And it becomes such a shit show that Sophie actually gets a hold of the relic.
Sophie gets a hold of
and
the
she
relic
runs.
and she slips away and she runs and she manages to get all the way up to the clock tower. I'm like, why would you go to the place that Maurice knows to find you at? But anyway.
Well, because it's her safe space.
Yeah. So Sophie climbs up to the top of the tower and Maurice is following her.
But then Maurice tries to grab her.
Oh, yeah.
And she screams. And she's hiding. And Irene's obviously looking for Sophie
Yeah.
outdoors, but he finds her. It's kind of that moment where he's like, gotcha. But she screams, and it makes the relic in her hand glow.
Yeah.
And suddenly he's like backing off, and his head seems to be hurting, and he's screeching, and so she runs.
Yeah.
And he's chasing her around the steps and stuff, and everything starts to fall apart because he's doing a very similar thing that we saw in Annabelle Creation when she was locked in the Bible closet, where like all of the energy that was going on, the fighting between the fighting between the like God and the devil, seems to cause earthquakes apparently, and that causes the bell to fall, and then he also falls off the thing because of the shaking, and it destroys a lot in the tower, not all of it but a lot of it.
And then Sophie's stuck on this ledge, and then the ledge kind of like, it's on the side, but then because of the shaking and stuff, it kind of collapses and it's kind of stuck in the middle now. And she's like trying to grab onto this thing. And then, what happened next?
Well, then that's when somehow Maurice climbs back up.
Yeah.
Magic powers, because he would have had to jump. There's nothing to climb. Yeah. And he's on the same ledge now, but he's like grabbing her legs. Now, good on Sophie, because she has this like relic in her hand, which is kind of like, think of it as like a makeup compact. It's about the size and shape. It's
like a tin of mints.
And she's holding it in her hand, but still manages to climb this now completely flat, parallel board of wood, like a ladder, with one hand full, and Maurice clawing at her ankles. And he falls off. He slips.
Good for you, Sophie. You're the one not annoying kid in the franchise.
But the tower's crumbling. It seems like it's going to fall apart. Irene's obviously seen this from the outside, especially when the bell fell. So she's already in the winery, which is kind of at the bottom of the bell tower, but to the side.
Yeah.
And so she goes in there screaming for Sophie, thinking Sophie's dead because the tower's like collapsing to pieces. But we see that Sophie made it to the bottom of the stairs in time.
Irene finds Sophie.
And she gets the relic.
Yes.
But as soon as she does, Maurice is right behind them. And so she throws Sophie behind her and she pushes the relic in his face and it glows and she's all like...
It's like, my notes literally say like, Irene uses eyes to defeat Nun.
It's given...
Frenchie dies and then it's a fake out.
Yeah. She does a you shall not pass.
Yeah. And then he's like, oh, you thought I was dead? No.
And snatches the relic from her.
Yeah.
And then seems to absorb the eyes.
And then you see like the nun kind of comes out. And so like now you can see the nun in her truly bad glory. And she's like ascending to heaven or whatever. Yeah. Like she's got like a halo almost around her of light.
Very much like if you ever seen like a painting like Mary.
Yeah.
That halo. Not that she's Mary, obviously.
No.
It was a very nice image.
Yeah.
I love the halo. I don't know who was behind that, but they executed that perfectly. It just looked so glorious. The perfect hint. And against like the shadowy figure of the nun. Yeah. Oh, beautiful.
Then it goes to multiple fights again. One of the bullies gets stabbed with a goat horn.
Yeah. Mind you, at this point, the nun is now in two places.
The nun is everywhere. Literally on my notes, and the nun is everywhere.
She's floating in the main room where we saw her get her halo in the winery. And mind you, the barrels are broken, so the floor is covered in wine.
Yeah.
And as she's fighting, there's a lot of splashes of wine, which looks like blood. It's very interesting. But the nun is floating above the air, like throwing chains at Irene. Deborah's not there yet, but she's on her way. And then there's a second nun that is haunting someone else. I can't remember who.
Yeah.
Then there is Maurice, who is also physically still possessed and haunting, I can't remember who.
And then there's the goat man.
And then there's the goat man who is in the school harassing the kids. And they're all apparently controlled by and part of the nun.
It wouldn't surprise me if the head teacher was also haunted still too.
Oh yeah, she's out there somewhere looking for kids. She's just really bad. She's a bad hunter. She should have queued Survivor. Sorry.
Sister Deborah finally arrives to help Irene. And then the nun starts attacking her too with the chains and the bars and all that kind of shit. And then like... It looks like, again, the way they framed it is like a cinematic angle from when you're fighting like a Dark Souls boss.
Yes, so Irene is fighting the nun. And this is when the nun gets her and tries to do to her to what she did to the priest.
Yeah.
Where she floats Irene into the air and then her shoes and slowly, her skirt start to ignite and come ablaze. And as this happens, Irene is seeing visions of her mother.
Yes. And she's also seeing visions of St. Lucy.
And this is like when she's fully realizing that she is a descendant.
Yeah.
And her mother says something, and I can't remember what it is, but as she does, it snaps her out of it, and the flames disappear, and she drops to the ground, and she sort of semi-loses consciousness.
Yeah.
And that's when Deborah witnesses this, and is like, oh my god. But then the nun tries to attack her. So this is when Deborah does the Dark Souls move, and she runs in, and she grabs Irene, and then like does a...
Like a roll.
Yeah, does a whole fucking roll with the both of them to dodge like a chain, which is so weirdly cool, but kind of weird, but like also kind of cool.
Deborah's kind of an action hero.
Again, where did these nuns train? If you saw her Sister Charlotte in the last film, yeah. Anyway, but then Sophie runs. I believe it's Sophie. Yeah, and she's with Maurice. Maurice is chasing her in, and she tries to reach for Irene, but the nun. All that wine on the floor that I mentioned earlier, she turns it into spikes, which again, it's interesting that, she's got holy powers now, she can manipulate wine. And they go, I guess.
But then Maurice is trying to, like, resist the nuns' control a little bit.
To buy them time.
Yeah, and then the nuns start praying together.
Yeah. And that's when Irene turns to her and she's like, do you believe in me? Do you believe in God? Pray with me. The blood of the cup and something, something, something.
The blood of the cup, the blood of the cup.
I'm not gonna lie. They just pray.
And the nun dies.
And then the nun dies.
And then there's a line that says, you have my eyes. I don't know what the fuck that means. I don't know who says that.
Oh, I think that's what her mother says.
Yeah.
That's what her mum says before she claps out of it.
Yeah.
She says, you have my eyes. And then that's when the flames stop and she falls. But yeah, they're praying.
The nun dies.
But, okay. Can I just say on this? Yes, I understand it. The point was that they needed the eyes, but she already had them, which I liked. It's cool. Because we established this in the first film. She's got vision. Why does she have visions? Now we know she has blessed eyes. Like, she is cool. She had the power in her to destroy these things anyway. Now, I'd love to see her come back in something else and still have those magical eyes and use them to defeat demons and shit. That'd be so cool. But on another hand, I'm like, so she prays and the nun just dies? I'm
not sure if Sister Irene's ever going to come back, though.
I don't think she will.
Because this is the second to last Conjuring movie.
Mm-hmm. Unless in the earlier movies, she's like an older lady with magic eyes.
It could be that. Or...
to remind you guys, we've not seen them. We're watching them in chronological order, not released.
Yeah.
So we could be sounding really dumb right now.
Yeah. Or it could be a case of they were lying, that is not the last Nun movie or Conjuring movie, and they'll release more spin-offs. So the Conjuring, like, mainline might be finished, but the spin-offs might be continue.
No.
Okay.
I refuse.
I refuse. Okay.
I refuse. Let's not speak that into existence. Take that back. Suck it back in. Didn't happen.
Yeah. So then there's like a happy ending. Oh, actually, nope. It's a fake out because there's an after credits.
Yeah. I will say about the happy ending. You can do the credit, but I want to do happy ending. Mm-hmm. We do get to see Maurice, and he's with the teacher.
Yeah.
He sees tomatoes. But what I love is the daughter, Sophie, she still likes Maurice, and she feels safe around him. And you see this when he does the fake out death earlier on.
Yeah.
Sophie cries. Even though she had just been chased and, like, terrified of Maurice, and he tried to kill her.
Yeah.
She recognizes immediately that it wasn't him. And you see that in the end when he walks off with the teacher and Sophie. And I just really liked that it didn't traumatize her. I said this, like, you know, you have this thing of, like, seeing your mother's, like, first, like, partner since, like, your dad or whatever, and he turns out to be, like, a bloodthirsty maniac who tries to kill you. You think it could traumatize her and think, like, oh, men are dangerous. I'm getting away from this.
I'm staying away from this.
But she was, like, had the nuance to be like, it wasn't him. It was this other thing.
She was quite happy to stay the same. I'm
just happy that she was mentally sound for now. It's going to come up in her teen years. Definitely. You don't go through that and... Can those eyes heal trauma? But yeah, it just annoyed me that the film ended just prayer.
Yeah.
I know it takes, if you have the right magic eyes and prayer, but still, it was just prayer.
It's just prayer. Yeah. So then the credits start rolling, and then there's an after credit scene. And then we're reminded, right?
Yeah.
We're reminded of the final scene from the original Nun 1, where the Warrens claim that they were the ones who saved, or, you know what I mean, exorcised Valak from Maurice. Which means the nun is still in Maurice. Mm-hmm. Because in the after credit scene, it's Ed Warren, and he picks up the phone, and he's like, how can I help?
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, so none of this meant anything.
Yeah.
It wasn't properly vanquished. It was just another movie.
Because the prayer didn't work. Wasn't enough.
Well, I do truly wonder if we're going to see Maurice properly get saved, or die, or whatever, you know?
I don't know. I guess we have to see. My curiosity is, like, at the end of Nun 1 is when they show Maurice screaming and howling.
Yeah.
And them being like, this is Maurice, and he blah, blah, blah. I wonder if it was a retcon.
It was a retcon.
I'm wondering. I don't know.
But it can't be a retcon because they confirm it in the after credits. When he's like, oh, how can I help? You know, still tying it to the Warrens. It
was tied to the Warrens, but we didn't get any specifics. We have no idea what it means. It could have been retconned. We don't know.
Could have been. I guess we'll find out if we watch the other movies. We will.
But the footage they show, because it had to have been retconned if it did change. Yeah. Because in that footage they show us at the end of Nun 1, we see the cross appearing all over his body.
Yeah.
It's not like they couldn't have faked that. Yeah. They faked a lot of things, they couldn't fake that. Thoughts? Review.
Okay. I said it's better than the first Nun movie, but it was still kind of overly long. Mm-hmm. I like the cinematography a lot more in this one, actually, and the haunts. Yeah. I gave it a 1.5 out of 5.
Interesting. Okay, I don't remember what I gave the Nun 1. I know I give Annabelle like 1.5. But honestly, and this might be because it's so shit, it's easy to do well, I did give it a 2.5.
Interesting, okay.
Now, let me explain. Now, maybe it is more realistic to say a 2, but it did a lot of things that we complained about in the other films. Yeah. No, so it didn't do, it like did better. Yeah. So one, the camera work was so much better. Even the camera quality looked better. The angles, the lighting, there was really beautiful moments. A lot of the CGI and the SFX looked a lot better than it did in the past. They still had a few shots of the Snapchat face, but besides that, so many really beautiful moments and really well thought out haunts, especially with this new technique with the nun kind of fading into objects and things that kind of look like her. Really like that stuff. And then the other thing that I really had an issue with Annabelle Creation, I think that it's so much better in this film, is the characters.
Yeah.
Like, as much as there was still the throwaway characters, like the bully kids, who I didn't give a fuck about. It reminded me of Annabelle Creation when it came to the old and mid kids.
Yeah.
I didn't care about them. Why do we keep cutting to them being haunted? I don't know who they are. Besides that, I had a little bit of like for the teacher. Sophie was a very likable character. Obviously, we already know Maurice, we already know Irene, and Deborah was a very welcomed newcomer.
Yeah.
Even though she felt like she kind of just did the same thing Irene did in the first film, her being there added stuff. Yeah. And it didn't take away. And I liked those characters. I liked watching them go through this again.
Honestly, listening to you talk about it, I think I could bump it up to a 2. I think at the time I did. But like, since we just spoke about like Annabelle Creation, I'm thinking I really didn't like Annabelle Creation as much as I liked this movie.
Yeah.
I did like this movie more. So I'll say I'll give it a 2. I changed my rating. It's a 2.
Yeah, I think it's a solid 2. In fact, I might even go down a half and go to 2.
Oh, okay.
Because that just sounds so right. It could have been better. The writing could have been a little more interesting. And the biggest thing is what you said, which was like, it was too long in certain parts.
Yeah.
That seems to be a running theme. You could cut so much more out of it. But the
cut
thing is,
fat.
Compared to the first Nun and even Annabelle Creation, they cut a lot more fat. Like, they really did. But like, get rid of like the principal's death. Then get rid of it. Yeah, we don't see it.
We don't need to see
Make
it.
her die as quickly as the little delivery girl did. We didn't need that wait, like stuff like that. Like, we didn't need it. We didn't need it.
We did not need it.
Yeah. And then these haunt scenes at the end, we don't need to see the bully kids get bullied. We didn't need to see it.
I don't understand why the only kids awake as well. I'm like, this is a boarding school. Shouldn't the whole fucking school be awake if they're awake?
It was
and
like
the
half.
tower's collapsing?
It was like half a class worth of kids. Where are the rest of them?
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Nah.
So yeah, I wish they would pick and choose. We don't need to see everyone get haunted.
Yeah.
Honestly, lock down the school, make all the doors lock. All the kids are sleeping, all the doors lock, and they're locked in a separate part of the school.
Yeah, and then there's like a few stragglers that were in the school.
And it's just the ones we care about.
That's really cool. That's a good idea.
It's just, I don't know. They keep doing that, and it's just like, I don't care.
I think that they're almost living off of like slasher rules, except they're not nearly as ballsy as to kill a bunch of kids in the way a slasher movie would.
And in a slasher, each character, especially typically the ones that die, are very distinct.
Yeah.
And you know each of them. Whereas like in each film they have this one little group that no one cares about, that is like separately being haunted, and we know they're not going to die. They might get injured, but they're not going to die.
Yeah.
But we just keep cutting them as filler. It's like filler, girl. It's like a filler episode. Get rid of it.
And I will say, I feel like we do need to care about the characters to care if they die or not. Like, maybe the average moviegoer or, like, the fucking Americans will be like, oh no, a little white girl, she's gonna die. You know? Like, no, I don't care. I need her to like them, you know?
Yeah. The last thing I'll say is it's going to be quite interesting watching these films because we're not watching the release order. So in release order, we could probably be in the mindset of like, oh, the next one might be better than this one.
Yeah.
But because we're going so back and forth, this was one of their most recent films.
So I imagine this is one of the best.
Yeah. So when we go back, we're probably going to have all those same problems again.
So we do movies in between our Conjuring movie franchise just because not everyone wants to watch videos about this. And that's totally understandable. I don't even want to watch these movies. But I'm doing it.
It's every other episode.
Yeah, it's every other episode. So far we've done The Nun, Annabelle Creation, Nun 2. The next movie will be Annabelle from 2014. But in between that, we'll have another movie. So don't worry if you don't like the Conjuring movies. Yeah, so the first Annabelle.
And to rank them again, to update the ranking, I believe my favourite now is Nun 2.
Yeah, Nun 2.
And I think in last episode, I think I liked Nun better than Annabelle.
You know?
Because of Irene.
Yeah.
And that like final scene and the fight.
I think that Annabelle Creation was a technically better movie than the first Nun.
Yeah.
But I do like the Nun first. So it goes Nun 2, Nun, and then Annabelle Creation.
The first Nun didn't have perfect story and characters, but it had better story and characters than Annabelle.
Yeah.
Nun 2, Nun,
Annabelle Creation. Yep.
From Best to Worst. Interesting. And you know what? I think that is technically in release order. Not exact release order, but newest to oldest is the same order. Because The Nun came out right after Annabelle Creation.
Oh my god, did it?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it did!
And obviously Nun 2 came out after Nun.
Oh my god, that's crazy.
So it is actively getting better, but we're not going in the right order, guys.
No, we're not. That's by design.
Yeah. So tune in when we hate the next one. What will the next one be?
Annabelle.
Okay.
From 2042.
Good luck, futures.
Do suggest movies we can watch in between to sandwich in. We'll
Please.
happily take suggestions.
Also, if you want to defend the series, please do. I'd love to hear it from someone who genuinely likes it.
Yeah, what is to like?
What is good to you? No, we'll listen.
Just to remind you, you can like, subscribe, rate our podcast.
Mm-hmm.
We are wherever you get your podcasts and YouTube. We are on Instagram and TikTok and Letterboxd. Follow us there. We love you. Goodbye.
Bye.